So good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Bonnie Sachs, and this is my happy half hour, happy Monday. I am actually sitting in a hotel room this morning, just an hour away from where I live. I came down here to visit with friends and have had a blast. Woke up this morning and was like, how am I going to do all this stuff, and what exactly am I going to do? And most of you all know that that's kind of how I do this process. Is I'm just waiting to see what the energy is and how things are going to arrive. So I am doing that very same thing today, but I'm doing it, I feel like I'm amped up just a little bit, like maybe I've already had caffeine, and which I have not yet. So this is a conversation about several different things. Actually, the first thing that we're going to be talking about is clairaudience. Good morning, David. It's great to see you. Given that you're right downstairs, but we're going to be talking about clairaudience and how to listen to your soul. It became really clear to me a couple days ago that most of us actually are clairaudient. We actually hear all the time, and we don't even have any idea of that. Good morning, Robin. It's great to see you. But we're going to talk about that, but we're also going to talk about listening to your soul, and we're going to talk about what happens when things get really crazy, because I really feel like that's a big one. You know, I came into the hotel room last night, got on my computer, said, all right, here we go, let's connect to the internet, or not. And I couldn't get on, and I couldn't get on this morning. It's like, it's been absolute bonkers. And so I wrote myself a note that's like, I feel like I have 1 foot here and 1 foot there, and I'm not doing a great job at either place where I'm kind of landing my feet. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, what exactly is going on? And I started looking at the energy. I started saying, okay, so what is there here? What am I supposed to be paying attention to? If my computer isn't working, but my phone is working, maybe I'm supposed to do things on my phone and not on my computer. Maybe there's something going on with my computer. And so I woke up this morning completely unconvinced that it had anything to do with anything, that energy was not an issue. And so David actually took my computer down to the front desk, and they got me on Wi-Fi. He brought the computer back up, and I went to go move the mouse, and I was like, you can't see the mouse. There is no way I can even see the mouse. If my mouse is not on something dark, you can't even see it. What's going on? Obviously I am not supposed to be on my computer. I'm supposed to be doing it on my phone, and that's just how we're going to do it. So part of that teaching for me is, are you following the energy? Are you following where you're supposed to be going? This morning I had a friend text me, and she said, okay, all those things I said I was going to do last week, that I was going to move here, and I was going to create this program, and I was going to do this thing, and all that. She goes, none of that is true. And I'm like, okay, well, what happened? And she's like, I checked in with my soul, and it was like, nope, I'm not doing that. I wasn't clear about any of that, but I am clear about it now. I said, all right, if that's what you say. And that's what we're talking about, is, can you follow the energy? Can you see where you're trying to create something and it's not falling into place? I don't know if you've ever had that. I certainly have had lots of that, where I'm like, oh, I'm going to create a new program. This is the program I'm going to do. This is what I'm doing. And I put the program together, have all the ideas, and then it just doesn't sync up. The people who I'm going to talk to aren't available. The conversations keep changing in my head. Oh, I thought I was talking about this subject, but now it looks like I'm talking about this subject, and maybe now I'm talking. My point is, when it doesn't show up easily for you, you might want to take a step back and say, oh, maybe it's not supposed to be showing up. Maybe it's not supposed to be the way it looks in my head. Good morning, Laura. It's great to see you. I know there's people that are popping on, but I can only see the people that are actually popping in on my phone. So I apologize that I am not saying good morning to everybody, but here's the piece. Can you follow the energy? Good morning, Karen. Can you follow the energy? Can you look at something and see when something is moving really easy, when it's grace and ease and it's just coming together exactly as it's supposed to? Perhaps that's where you're supposed to be working. Perhaps that's where you're supposed to put your attention. So if you are somebody who is busy looking for a new job and it's not falling into place like you think it should be, perhaps you are looking in the wrong place. If you're looking for a house, if you're looking for what the next program is that you are doing, it might not be coming together because that's not where you're supposed to put your attention. And I would in fact say I could almost guarantee that it's not coming together because that's where your attention is not supposed to be. Look elsewhere. Turn your attention elsewhere. I love the idea of putting on a different hat and saying, let me think about this differently. Maybe I'm not supposed to create a program that looks like this. You know, I'm not supposed to create a program where I am meeting with people in a physical facility. Maybe I'm supposed to be online. Maybe that's where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be working on some new program there. Or the reason why new clients aren't coming in for me, and it really doesn't matter whether you're talking about, you know, an energy from an energy perspective, or you're looking from some other point of view. Like if you have a business where you want to bring more business in, if you have a physical business, all of that could just be that you're not moving in the direction that your soul really wants you to move in. So good morning to Maddie and to Gretchen. It is great to see you all here. We are talking about following the energy, when you follow the energy. And when you follow the energy, then you know things are going to fall into place. When you sit down and you start creating a new website, when you start creating a new program, when you start creating anything, you decide, you make a decision, I am going to go and volunteer at this particular place. If you call them 3, 4, 5 times and nobody's returning your call, it might be that is not the place that you're supposed to be volunteering. It might be really beneficial for you to say, like, where else could I look? What else is in this range? I actually just had this happen for me with my mom. We were looking for a facility for my mom, and David made tons of phone calls, called all sorts of places, but none of them were really clicking. And then Sarah came down and visited last week. You all remember she was on my live program last week. Sarah came down to visit, and suddenly everything was falling into place. She contacted a place, the price was great, everything about it was really awesome. It was just 1, 2, 3, and we're meeting with them this week. That's the sign that things are falling where they're supposed to, that you're following the energy, that's the next thing that you're supposed to be doing. So good morning, Erin. It's great to see you in Vietnam, so to speak. Great to have you here. So that's a great piece. I've been reading a ton of information on Facebook. Lots of people talking about, why aren't things coming together for me? What's this thing about manifesting? What's the trick to manifesting? All of that stuff is just this easy. Start paying attention to what flows easily. Start paying attention to what just lands in your lap, and know that it's not a coincidence. If something amazing lands in your lap, you know that phrase where you're like, oh my God, I wasn't even expecting it. And suddenly, you know, I got a check for $1,000, or somebody was offering me the perfect job. Pay attention to that and know that that's actually happening exactly as it's supposed to. This conversation we're having is happening exactly as it's supposed to. I'm going to trust that everything is going to happen exactly as it's supposed to unfold. And when I notice that, oh, next thought's there, next thought's there, next thought is there, then I know that I'm on the right track. Now, if I find myself going, oh, well, maybe I am not paying attention to the energy. I think that is great advice for all of us. We just want things to flow easily. The same is true in relationships, right? If you are constantly getting stuck in a relationship, not stuck, yeah, if you're getting stuck in a relationship, that makes sense. If you're getting stuck in a relationship, if you keep having the same issue come up over and over again, look at the energy. What is showing up? Is there fear showing up? Is there anger showing up? Is there mistrust showing up? And start focusing your attention on that. What do I need to do to take care of that? What do I need to do to heal that? What do I need to do to pay more attention so that I can get over that bump? I have a friend who has some neighbor issues, right? Some neighbor things going on. Where can you get over the hump with a neighbor issue? You know, there are definitely people in my neighborhood who are busy, really annoyed that there are dogs that are constantly not being cleaned up after. Where can you look at that? It doesn't matter what the topic is, right? I really want you to notice that it doesn't matter what we're talking about. We still want to follow the energy. We still want to see where things are moving through easily and where things are stuck. And when things get stuck, we want to pay attention to that and see what more do we need to put into that. Do we need to add some more love? Do we need to add some more gratitude? Is there something we're missing that maybe we're not supposed to turn right? Maybe we're supposed to turn left. It's really cool when you start noticing that. So I have a friend who is constantly telling me to follow the energy, and you know, she gave me a card for my birthday, and in the card she actually wrote follow the energy. So I was given this card, it was follow the energy, and I was like, what a strange thing to do. What exactly does that mean, follow the energy? And so I just sat with it and waited for the information to come in, for me to have some understanding about what I was supposed to do with this card. And it took about a minute for the information to come in, and I actually realized that what I was supposed to do to the card is actually pretend to lick it. So I literally was doing that, like licking it. Absolutely, licking it to pick up the energy. Now, I know that sounds absolutely crazy. It's really bizarre, but when we start to follow the energy, when we stop and we think, what exactly does that mean? What does it mean that I need to follow the energy? Let me look, let me stop and listen. Let me actually tune in to what my issue is. You know, how can I follow the issue? How can I follow the energy when I am looking at a new program, when I'm looking at getting new clients, when I'm looking at figuring out what is wrong with this relationship here, right? We do that stuff and we start to have the moments where we get clear. Let me listen. And so that's the part about the clairaudience. Good morning, Lisa and Maggie. It's great to see you this morning. When we listen to ourselves, so I promise we're going to talk a little bit about clairaudience. I think this is a really trippy conversation because I'm going to see if I can describe it for you in a way that you can understand it clearly. So all of us have, I'm going to assume, all of us have people or voices in our head. We all have conversations going on in our head. So if you walk into a party where you only know 3 people, but there's, 50 people in the room, you're probably having a conversation with yourself that looks something like, I wonder where my friend is. She said she was wearing a red shirt. So let me start looking around for people with red shirts. Oh my gosh, that person looks really great in that outfit. And oh my gosh, I wonder what that person is doing. And oh, that looks like a good drink, right? We all have those conversations in our heads. And we're going to stay with that example to see if we can get this whole thought all the way out. So you're sitting in the party, suddenly you find your friend, you go over, you say hello. You know, you're not necessarily still having that conversation in your head. Now you're having a conversation with your friend. The conversation that you're having with your friend, you are actually listening to them, right? They're talking, you're hearing them, you're listening to them. That conversation that you were having in your head when you first walked in, including the conversation that could have been like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have worn these shoes, and I'm wearing jeans and everybody else looks much more dressed up. All of those conversations that you are having in your head are part of clairaudience. That is being clairaudient. And clairaudient actually means clear listening. Clairaudience, clear listening. Now, the question might be, who are you listening to? And that actually is a great question, because you actually could be listening to your soul. Your soul could be telling you, oh, but you look great. You know, yeah, everybody else is wearing dresses and you're wearing jeans, but wow, these jeans look really great on you, and I love that top, right? You could be listening to your soul, and you know it's your soul because your soul is always going to be speaking really positive to you. It's going to be directing you in very positive directions. You can be clear that it's your soul because it is a positive, loving, nurturing message. Now, you could be listening to what I would call beings that are in your space. And those beings and those low frequencies are things that are busy telling you like, oh my gosh, you know, my my ass looks horrible in these. I'm just laughing because that's what I just heard. My ass looks terrible in these, and God, these shoes are so uncomfortable, and oh, she looks so much better than I do. Or, oh my gosh, who is that? Right? Those conversations can be the low frequencies in your body. If you find yourself walking into the room and you're like, oh, I am so pissed off. I can't believe that I am here. I'd rather be home, blah, blah, blah. Any of those conversations, right, that are going on in your head are your soul, low frequencies, or they're part of your healing team. And this is really cool because my thought is that everybody is a whole lot more clairaudient than they possibly think that they are. Because I didn't realize that those conversations I was having in my head were actual clairaudient conversations until just recently. And so I think that's a really cool piece of information to have. Once you have that information, look at what you can do with that. Now you become really powerful. I can hear. I love, Kim, that you actually said, I hear. I think all of us hear, right? When you can hear, you are either listening to your soul, and some people might call that their essence, their higher self. You know, there's their I am presence. There's lots of names for that. I just say it's my soul. I'm listening to my soul. You might be listening to the low frequencies in your body. The low frequencies in your body are when you're talking like you're angry, when you're in fear, when you think that you're not enough, when you are comparing yourself to other people, when you find yourself like getting into competition energy, right? When you find yourself being like, somebody says, oh, I did that, and you're like, oh, I did that 3 times, and then the other person goes, oh, well, I did that 4 more times than you did. That's competition energy, right? All of those things are low frequencies. Those are the low frequencies in your body, and if you can understand that the low frequencies in your body are the things that we're moving out, or the things that we want to get rid of, you can then start to say, oh, I hear that I'm really pissed off. That is definitely not my soul. That is definitely not the truth of me. The truth of me is positive and happy and loving and always looking for the next thing, the next beautiful thing that's going to happen. All the other stuff, we're just getting rid of. Now, I did say that there were probably 3 different things that you were listening to, right? The first is your soul, and whatever word you want to use instead of that. The second is your is the low frequencies in your body, and the third are other beings that are part of your healing team, because all of us have some version of a healing team. We might have one person that is on our healing team. We might have a healing team of 4 or 5 people, and those voices that you hear, those thoughts that you think that are actually hearing, those are also very positive, very directing, always helpful. It's a really great thing to get to know who is on your healing team. Now, here's the tricky part. Sometimes you could be listening to a voice that you think is your soul, and you could be listening to a voice that you think is someone on your healing team, a being on your healing team, and you're actually not. You might actually be listening to something that is a low frequency, but that it sounds really good. Sometimes you actually have somebody on that's a low frequency that is telling you, oh, that's an awesome idea. Let's create a program and charge $1,000 a month for it. Let's create some new event, and it's something that turns out to be really crazy, right? Something that just doesn't even really make sense when you take a step back. But when you hear it, you're very clear. I'm supposed to charge $1,000 a month for this particular program, or I'm supposed to charge $15,000 for 6 weeks of this program, or I'm supposed to create this program and take people around the world. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, I'm just using examples that are popping off the top of my head. But it's really important for us to be able to distinguish when we're listening to low frequencies and when we're listening to our soul, when we're listening to low frequencies and when we're listening to our healing team. When we are listening to our healing team, when we are listening to our soul, besides being positive, besides always be moving us forward, we also know that we're listening to the healing team or to our soul, because they don't change their mind. They don't, like my friend said, well, I thought I was moving here, and then I heard I was moving here. One moment she was moving to California, the next time I talked to her, she was moving to Costa Rica, and then when I talked to her again, she was going to be staying in Florida. When you're getting information like that, when information is coming in that you're, paint the wall red, paint the wall blue, paint the wall green, and that's happening over just a span of a week or two, when you're getting information like that, you know that you are not listening to your soul and you are not listening to your healing team. They are absolutely going to tell you the truth, not change their mind, be positive. That's absolutely what is going to happen. There is not going to be any judgment around a message that comes from your healing team or comes from your soul. There's no judgment whatsoever. There is no negative statements whatsoever. So you know that you need to ask again. Now, my suggestion for you, if you get in that position where you're asking a question, What am I supposed to do? How is this flowing? What am I supposed to be doing next? And you don't think you're listening to your soul, if you don't think you're listening to your healing team, you can actually ask. I suggest you ask Source Creator God, can I please have a healing? Can you please move those things out of my channels? Can you please move the anger that is there? Can you move the fear that is there? Can you move the unworthiness that is there? It is literally that simple to take care of. I find that people think it's so amazing that it is that simple to take care of an issue that is going on in your life just by asking to have it healed, just by asking for help. It literally is that easy, people. I want to spare you the hard work of this. It is that easy. I keep trying to figure out where I'm supposed to move to, and I can't figure it out. It's not becoming clear to me. I keep asking the question, and I'm getting one answer, and then the next, and then another. When that happens, all you have to do is say, there's my version. Yo, Source, I need some help. I have no clarity on this subject. I need more clarity. I need more clear answers. If you are telling me that I need to move to Oklahoma, you're going to need to give me a really specific example. I need to turn on the radio and hear the song Oklahoma coming on. That is what I call a really clear message. Or I need to be driving down the road and I suddenly start singing the song Oklahoma, and I know that I do not know that song. So there must be a definite message in there. And it really is that easy. Robin, I know you had some really fun stuff going on with returning your rental car, and we absolutely have fun with this issue. There is always an opportunity for us to play with this. And Kim, I would say you just want to keep playing with it and being okay with it not being right the first time, not being right the second time, maybe even not being right, 15 times into it, because this is really a practice. 99% of us don't even know that we're clairaudient, let alone know that we can ask for help, let alone know that there are 3 different kinds of hearing that we might have. We have to be willing to just go, okay, let me ask for some help and try it again. Let me ask for some more help and try it again. I have gotten it wrong more times than I have gotten it right. I probably get it right more now than I did a year ago, but I have gotten it wrong an endless number of times. And so I just keep going. Nope, gonna practice again, gonna do this again. It's absolutely gonna work. So I really want to encourage all of you to play the game, right? Be willing to ask a question that you would really like an answer to. Ask the question and wait to hear the answer. Ask the question and wait to have some sort of understanding. And know if you don't hear anything, or if you hear crickets, that might be just the way of the universe telling it's not available for you yet. It's not there for you. And then you can just let it go. It's like, all right, I'm just going to let it go, and I'm going to come back and ask again tonight. I'm going to ask again tomorrow morning. I'm going to be willing to let it unfold just the way it's supposed to. Sometimes the universe needs a longer period of time than the 5 minutes we give it to do whatever it is we want it to do. So, as I said, when I started this conversation, I had no idea exactly where the conversation was going to go. I wrote down on a piece of paper, listening to your soul, but I had no idea exactly where it was going to end up. But I'm really happy that I was here hanging out with you guys. Absolutely, crickets are an answer always, always, always. I'm so happy to spend half an hour with you on a Monday morning. I challenge you to play the game and get on my Facebook page and let me know what's going on with you. Happy to help in any way I can, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.